day, good day, good day, good day. Welcome to Central Beijing. I'm greeting you from the Forbidden City, Central Beijing. We are going to see the Asian palace where the emperors of China lived. We are talking about 600 years of history. Yes, let's go. Come with me to the Palace Museum. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, one question. Hey viewers, my name is Dina from Namibia, which is officially known as the Republic of Namibia and which is also referred to as the Land of the Brave, a country in southern Africa. Its western border is the Atlantic Ocean. It shares land borders with Zambia and Angola to the north, Botswana to the east, and South Africa to the south and east. Its capital and largest city is Windhoek. Yeah, that's my country. If you are new to the channel, thank you so much for clicking the video. We also thank returning subscribers for your continued support. So it's my pleasure to have you joining me as I present this magnificent video of the World's Heritage Site, well known as the Forbidden City, the Asian Palace compound of the Chinese emperors, located at the center of Beijing, the capital of China. On 29th June 2023, we visited the Forbidden City as a group. So it's my colleagues and I, we were attending a seminar in China and we happened to be taken to the Forbidden City. So we arrived to find the square filled with a rambling mass of people. It was quite easy to get lost in the massive complex because of the multitudes of people and the many sections of the palace complex. The tour guide who accompanied us to the site was a well-informed person, full of fun, and shared many exciting stories. Among the many things she said was that the emperor had over 3,000 concubines, aside from the official queen. The concubines were housed in the secluded quarters and closed within the Forbidden City wall, never allowed to step out of the palace, nor interact with anyone outside the palace, including members of their families. So I don't know whether you understand the context of the story here. Those 300 concubines, in case you don't understand what a concubine is a mistress, a woman who has an ongoing extramarital sexual relationship with a man, or simply a woman who cohabits with a man to whom she is not legally married. That's a concubine. So we are saying then, if you are a man, you would understand the version of this story because it's being said that women were never allowed to go out. So if you have a girl in the house, that girl's room should be somewhere inside that house, somewhere at a deeper place there. They are not allowed to have their room at the open space there as you're entering the house, because if this girl is on the stage of puberty or maybe a teenager, this girl, you are afraid that the girl might be taken out by some guys, so that the girl end up becoming the prey of teenage pregnancy. So that's what we are saying, that even at the Forbidden City, women were never allowed to step out of the palace or interact with others, just to avoid all those things, you know. I don't want to go deeper here. Back to the story. Only women workers were allowed to work on the quarters housing the harem. In case you don't know what a harem is, a harem, which is spelled as Harem, is a women's quarter or a separate part of a household reserved for wives, concubines, and female servants. In the event that the male servant was needed to serve in the harem, the emperor required that such a servant be made an eunuch. In case you also don't know what a eunuch is, because some of these words you wouldn't hear them every day. So an eunuch, spelled as eunuch, eunuch. An eunuch is a man who has been castrated and employed to guard the women's living areas in a court. Eunuchs were considered to be less of a man and thus unable to be tempted by the women in the harem, and would remain solely loyal to the emperor. So I would like to dive a bit deeper here. So we are saying, for someone to take care of the girls so that they don't go out, or take care of just generally women in the palace, there should be men to do that. So these men, since a man can be tempted, you can ask a man to look after a woman, even your own woman, if you have a house and you are like, please take care of my woman, don't let her go out and stuff. A man can easily be tempted and would end up sleeping with your wife. So here we are talking about the eunuch now, to say this man has been castrated. To be castrated is like the male organ of a man, and some of the reproductive system has been tempered so that this man would not be tempted to look at the ladies, even if he is seeing the ladies passing by, or he's seeing the ladies every day. They wouldn't be tempted to touch them, or just they wouldn't be in the mood for relationships and all those things, because their reproduction system has been hampered, and they also don't have the male organs. So they are just they are referred to as they are less of a man. So that's what we are saying. So we are diving deeper and deeper, bringing you every detail you need to know about the Palace Museum. Located at the center of Beijing, specifically in Dongchen district of Beijing, the Forbidden City was the imperial palace of the Ming and Qin dynasties for nearly 5 centuries, of which from 1925 was declared the Palace Museum. The museum is a hub of traditional Chinese art. The palace is surrounded by numerous magnificent imperial gardens and temples, covering over 1 million square meters. The Ming and Qin architectural compound under the Palace Museum's administration consists of about 9,000 bays, which are also referred to as internal spaces defined by 4 columns of heritage structures, making it China's largest and best preserved historical palace complex. The Forbidden City, on the site of which the museum was born, was completed in 1420, the 18th year of the Yongle reign in the Ming dynasty. There are 4 entrance gates into the Forbidden City. These are the Meridian Gate to the south, the Gate of Divine Prowess to the north, the Eastern Flowery Gate to the east, and the Western Flowery Gate to the west. The Forbidden City is composed of an outer court and inner court.
This background. Okay.
Here are the details of the outer court. The outer court hosted grand ceremonies and rituals. Its main structures included the Hall of Supreme Harmony, Hall of Middle Harmony, and Hall of Preserving Harmony, the 3 majestic halls dominating the center, as well as the Hall of Literary Brilliance and Hall of Martial Valor, which flank the central axis.
This is very easy.
Inner court, or the northern section. The inner court was both the residence of the imperial family and the site of day-to-day affairs of state. At the center of the inner court is another set of 3 halls from the south, imitating the layout of the 3 grand halls mentioned above. These are the Palace of Earthly Purity, the Hall of Union, and Palace of Earthly Tranquility. Don't get confused. These halls are imitating the halls of the outer court. So these are listed as Palace of Earthly Purity, Hall of Union, and the Palace of Earthly Tranquility. So we are saying these 3 halls of the inner court, which were the official residences of the emperor and the empress, were occupied as follows. The emperor, representing Yang and the heavens, would occupy the Palace of Heavenly Purity. The empress, representing Yin and the earth, would occupy the Palace of Earthly Tranquility. In between them was the Hall of Union, where the Yin and Yang mixed to produce harmony. Interesting, right? Behind these 3 halls lies the imperial garden, which was a place for the emperor, the empress, and the concubines to relax, and was also used for other purposes, including sacrificial rites. To the north of the garden is the Gate of Divine Might. Ooh, the names of the palaces and the gates and the halls, my dear, they are all interesting. To the west and to the east of the 3 main halls of the inner court are 12 palaces known as the Western Palaces and the Eastern Palaces. You know, the palatial structure of the Forbidden City is very big. Imagine, we are talking about the inner court, that it has 12 palaces inside them. These palaces were the residence of the imperial consorts. 6 palaces lie to the west and 6 to the east of the 3 main halls. The architecture of the 12 palaces, connected by passageways, is more or less the same. The name of the palaces were, I will begin with the western 6 palaces, which are Palace of Eternal Longevity, Hall of the Supreme Principle, Palace of Eternal Spring, Palace of Earthly Honor, Palace of Gathering Elegance, Palace of Universal Happiness. The eastern 6 palaces are Palace of Great Benevolence, Palace of Heavenly Grace, Palace of Accumulated Purity, Palace of Prolonging Happiness, Palace of Great Brilliance, Palace of Eternal Harmony. Those are the 6 palaces to the eastern side. Palace of Earthly Honor is one of the 6 western palaces in the Forbidden City, which used to be a residence of imperial concubines.
And this monument was started in 1952 and it was finished in 1958. So this monument is 56. There's a flagship building, that's the Chairman Mao's mausoleum. You know Chairman Mao? Chairman Mao. Yeah, Chairman Mao. In Chinese minds, Chairman Mao was a god in Chinese minds. Yeah. So in the center of the Chairman Mao's mausoleum,
Have you ever heard about Forbidden City? Have you read about China's history? We are talking about the central Beijing. You know, the city of Beijing was separated into 2 parts, inner city and outer city. Inner city was forbidden, that's why it's called the Forbidden City, because it was only the royal people were allowed to live there, the emperors and their family, while the ordinary people were forbidden from entering the city. So the ordinary people lived in the outer city, that is outer Beijing. Powerful history here in China. Subscribe, subscribe. Central Beijing, 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 Beijing. Me esere me fano, chekuta uno. Watu jomu ngamo Beijing, China. Urukonda ondonga. Tatisha ngitamo Beijing, China. China show. Can you see the picture of Chairman Mao Zedong, the great, powerful leader of China, the first leader of China? Can you see him? China is an interesting place. Beijing City, China. I would like to encourage you to come and visit China. China is just great. Everything it offers, it's interesting and magnificent. I'm telling you. Chairman Mao Zedong. This is the Forbidden City, as you can see. This is the Forbidden City. Have you ever been here? If not, please present yourself to the Forbidden City so that we just follow the history of China together. Yes. The Hall of Supreme Harmony, where the emperor conducted affairs of state, is the most magnificent building in all of the Forbidden City, I would say. It depends on your own views. The way I look at it, this is like the most magnificent building. That's according to me. Yes, now. Oh, I'm so excited to be in the Palace Museum. Chinese Emperor location. This is super amazing. History in the making. Wonderful.
Oh.
This background. Okay.
But the one you can go there.
我也过去了，那边还有吗？啊
Hello，你们会说中文？
This is the southern side. The southern side of the palace. How does it look like in your eyes? How does the southern side looks like in your sight? Very beautiful, right? Oh, lion, no, dani ngangini ne. We are still talking about the Forbidden City, so don't go anywhere or get tired. We need to hear this history. So this section of the information is talking about, we are going a little bit deeper into history as to what transpired before we have the Forbidden City, or just what happened. What are some of the events that happened, or what are some of the incidences that led to the structure of the Forbidden City, and such kind of information. So we are talking about it right now. Don't go anywhere. Shinene man. So we are saying, following its completion, the Forbidden City served as residence for a total of 24 Ming and Qing emperors before its role came to an end after the Qing dynasty was overthrown in 1912. In 1914, the National Museum was established in the outer court and opened to the public. In 1925, the inner court was converted into the Palace Museum. Then, in 1948, both institutions were merged into one, retaining the name Palace Museum. Do you get the history here? It was first called the Forbidden City, but later on, they decided to turn when the emperors were no longer serving, when the last emperor was overthrown, they decided that we cannot keep this historical heritage place just like that. idling like a white elephant. We need to turn it into a museum, and this museum would attract a lot of visitors both from China itself and from abroad. So they decided to refine it well and turned it into a national museum now known as the Palace Museum. This is another section of the Forbidden City. Another section of the Forbidden City. It's very hot. You just say hello, Namibia.
It's Beijing.
Beijing Palace Museum. So Google and learn more about the Forbidden City. The place is so beautiful, as you can see. Ash, I'm telling you. Feeling so hot, but I'm exploring. Exploration on the move. Central Beijing. Welcome to Central Beijing. Can you see the Central Beijing? How does it look in your eyes? Are you seeing that magnificent building? Can you see that magnificent building? Very nice. Central Beijing. I'm greeting you from the Forbidden City in Beijing, China.
Cái nó được cho ngắm mà like của người ta. Nó được cho ngắm có ai biết thấy cái tí.
This is another layer or section. As you can see, if you have noticed, these sections are not really the same, and it's very big. The compound is very big. The premise of the Palace Museum of the Emperors of China is very big.
Oh, hey.
We are still in the Forbidden City of China. Can you see? Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Forbidden City.
This is my sister.
Ito yun eh.
This is very easy. 练口语啊，是吧？在这儿说的全都是英文，我们英文是念不来。
The Forbidden City was constructed from 1406 to 1420 and was the former Chinese imperial palace and winter residence of the Emperor of China from the Ming Dynasty since the Yongle Emperor to the end of the Qin Dynasty between 1420 and 1924. The Forbidden City served as the home of Chinese emperors and their households, and was the ceremonial and political center of the Chinese government for over 500 years. Construction lasted 14 years and required more than 1 million workers. From 1420 to 1644, the Forbidden City was the seat of the Ming Dynasty. After being the home of 24 emperors, 14 of the Ming Dynasty and 10 of the Qin Dynasty, the Forbidden City ceased being the political center of China in 1912 with the abdication of Puyi, the last emperor of China. Like I said up there that, the Forbidden City ceased to be the leading government in 1912 after the abdication of Puyi. Puyi, now who was the last emperor of China. The Forbidden City was declared a World Heritage Site in 1987 by UNESCO due to its significant contribution in the development of Chinese architecture and culture. The Forbidden City receives millions of visitors annually. A visit to the Palace Museum begins at the Meridian Gate in the south. Passage through the central opening was formerly restricted to the emperor, whereas the two sides openings served civil and military officials as well as the imperial clansmen.
What is the name of the garden again?
The name is Imperial Garden.
Oh, Imperial Garden.
Imperial Garden.
Welcome to Emperor's Garden, here at the Forbidden City, Beijing, in the People's Republic of China. China in the Asian continent, Forbidden City, Palace Museum. An excursion to offer sacrifices at the Temple of Heaven or Altar of Earth was heralded at the gate by bells, which to the imperial ancestral temple was announced by drums. Interesting history in the making. Now we are talking about how women were selected for service in the Forbidden City. The inner court was composed of 3 major groups of women. These were the concubines, palace servants, and the royal princesses. All female living in the Forbidden City were carefully sequenced in the imperial quarters deep inside the palace. They were restricted to the inner court and forbidden from venturing out of the northern section. Most women in the Forbidden City were employed as maids and servants. But there was also a select group of concubines whose task was to bear children for the emperor. Those who gave birth to male offspring were elevated to imperial consorts with emperors at the top of the Peking order. So, thank you so much for your attention and enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you so much.
啊，现在。
I'm still in the People's Republic of China at the Forbidden City. How beautiful it is. Amazing.
2点多了。20有。多少事儿啊？
Yan, dai tiku bangan tikuru ki.
都有了。